and welcome, I'm Chris and this is Crackin' EDC, and on this channel I look at everything to do with everyday carry. And on today's video I'm going to be looking at an EDC for my son. It's been his birthday, Christmas is coming up, and if you've got a similar idea this might give you some tips. Now obviously this is going to be a bit different to normal because he's so young. There'll be certain things that I don't want him to carry that I personally might carry. However, there are lots of useful things in here, so light them if you've got them. Let's do it. So first up is going to be the bag, and the bag is a Matador bag. This bag is light, thin and shower resistant. It can be screwed up quite easily and thrown into his larger school bag and then taken out when it's needed. Or if he's going out, it can be worn around his waist or like a sling bag across his shoulder. The great thing about this is it has lots of pockets with it, and because it's quite small, it can also be hidden under a jumper or a t-shirt if he's going out into an environment where he doesn't want people to know that he's carrying any money or a phone or whatever it is he's carrying. Now next up is another Matador product. We're on a bit of a Matador run here, and this is a liquid soap bag. However, I'm using it for him as a liquid hand sanitizer. This just unscrews and you can put in your sanitizer, and then it's easily accessible. And there's a nice little loop on the outside of the bag that I can attach this to, so it's always there, so it just reminds him to use it when he needs it. And staying along that theme of global pandemic, we have a small mask. This thing can be attached to your keychain and is very, very useful, and it has a washable mask within it. So again, if he does go into an environment where he needs to put a mask on, he's always going to have one to hand. Then we have a hand towel. Now this hand towel expands to quite a reasonable size. I mean, he's only 5 foot and you could probably get your whole body dried off with this. But realistically, what he's going to be using this for is if he goes into a toilet and there's no paper towels, he can use it to wipe his hands down, or if he gets caught in a rain shower, he can use it just to wipe his face and his hair off. Also as well, really handy if it's been raining, you're over the park and you want to sit on a bench to wipe off the bench or wipe off a slide or a swing. Now I tend to use my hank for things like that, but for him, having this large sort of fold up towel I think is a really good idea. And the final Matador thing is a foldable blanket. This small blanket unfolds to a really good size. It's waterproof on one side, easily sit 1 to 2 adults, but you know, his mates can all cram on it as well if the need arises. And staying on that sort of theme of keeping dry and keeping out of the rain, I don't know what your kids are like, but it's a nightmare for running out without a jacket. So I'm also going to throw into the bag a showerproof poncho. These things are disposable and really handy and are not going to take up a lot of room. And his mates may laugh at him when he throws this on. However, when he's bone dry and they're soaking wet, they're going to be begging to borrow his towel. Now I don't know what you were like as a kid, but I was constantly misplacing and losing my door key, and it drove my parents nuts. So the next thing, I've sort of combined a couple of items together in the hope that this is going to stop him losing the door key. Now he's a massive fan of the Mandalorian TV series and anything to do with Star Wars. So I made him this keychain, and on the end of it I've put a Mandalorian bead. Now he absolutely loves this and he's going to really try his hardest not to lose this bead. But attached to this bead is going to be his key. So if he doesn't lose the bead, he's not going to lose the key. I know, crazy thinking, but hopefully it's going to work. And I've also put on my small Lumitop torch. I've shown this in another video and I'll link it up here, but at just £10, this is just going to come in really handy as it starts to get dark here around about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And if he's coming home or he's out late, it's just very handy. And it just makes me feel a little bit better knowing that he's got a torch with him. Into the bag it goes. Now you know I absolutely love my hero clips. I've got them on all my bags and they come in all different sizes, so I'm gonna chuck in a little black hero clip. One, it makes a great carabiner and it's just cool, and as well it unfolds into that trademark hook, so if he goes into a cubicle and the floor is wet and he wants to hang his bag or his jacket up off of the floor, he can clip this one end over the door and he can clip his jacket or his bag onto the other end. Now I'm also as well just going to throw in a very simple pack of plasters. Now again, it makes sense, you're always getting knocks and scrapes as a kid, and just having a pack of plasters for you or a mate in there, it doesn't take up any room, but it's going to save him having to find somebody or come home just to put a plaster on a bit of a cut or a graze. And also, if he does get a little bit low on his sugar intake, I've also chucked in a couple of nom nom sweets to tide him over. Now pen wise, I've chucked in 2 pens. The first just being a small simple Sharpie marker. These things come in handy whether it's just in a restaurant and he wants to doodle, or whether in a more important situation he would need to write a note that is permanent. The second pen, however, is a little bit of fun. It's a pilot pen and it's by Friction Ball, and these things are actually erasable pens, so you can write with them and there is a little rubber on the end and you can rub out if you make any mistakes. Again, being a kid, spell a mistake or you just put the wrong word in, really good idea. However, we play a little game with these. So you can write a note on a piece of paper with this pen and then pop it into the freezer, and then what you've wrote will disappear. You then take it out the freezer, and when you apply heat to it, whether you put it on a radiator or a hairdryer, or whether your child is old enough to have a lighter, gently heat the paper with the lighter and the writing reappears. Now this is really cool, and I leave notes for him in his jackets, bags and around the house with directions to sweets on. And it's just a really nice fun little game, and he knows if he finds a scrap of paper with nothing on it in his jacket pocket, he's got to heat that up and he'll probably find himself a Snickers bar. And it's just something fun that we can enjoy doing. So the final thing before I move on to a knife, yes, and you heard it, there is a knife, I will explain myself in a second, is a power bank. He has a phone, and of course, like anyone, he's on it all the time and it runs out of battery, and in an emergency I want him to be able to get hold of me. So I have just included a really cheap power bank. I make sure I check every once in a while to make sure that this is juiced up and he can always use it if he needs to. I haven't bought him an expensive one because, again, this probably will get lost, misplaced, lent to a friend whose battery has run out and I'll never see it again. So this was just a real cheap one. I'll link it below, but you can find these all over the place now, and they'll just give him that power he needs to make the phone call so that I can come and get him. Okay, so finally, knives. Now, before anybody comments in the comment below, he does not take this knife out of the house. He uses it under my supervision and only when he's with me. But like any tool, I think it's important to teach kids how to use it safely and properly. So although it's going in the kit, it doesn't leave the house unless we're going camping. Now this knife is a Schweizer knife, and it's sort of a Swiss Army knife. But the reason I got him this one over a Swiss Army knife because it actually locks, and I just feel a little bit more comfortable him having a locking blade, knowing that it's not going to fold back on his finger. Also as well, it's got like a rubberized grip on it, and it has a nice feel to it. To unlock it, you actually push the cross in the center and that will then unlock it. So you couldn't carry this in the UK anyway because it's a locking knife. But if we're sat outside and we're roasting marshmallows and he wants to whittle off the end of the stick into a point to stick his marshmallows on, or he wants to try and carve a spoon and I'm sat with him, then it's just something as a father and son that we can do to bond together. And again, like the pen, it's just a bit of fun. Use safely, use responsibly. Hopefully he'll grow up to love and appreciate everything to do with the EDC just like I do. There's also on it a couple of other tools. So you have your little leather needle, which, let's be honest, he's not going to use it, but it's a sharp point, so you know, in an emergency sort of thing. And then he has a screwdriver. I'm more likely to use that to fix things, but knowing that it's there is handy. But what is very handy is a small pair of tweezers, because I remember being a kid, getting splinters and trying to find a pair of tweezers can be a bit of a nightmare. so they're always there, along with his plasters, should he need them. So like always, everything is in the description below if you want to check it out. Some of them are affiliate links and they do help the channel with no extra cost to you, so I would appreciate that. Let me know in the comments below if your kids already have an EDC or whether this has inspired you to make one. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification button for more videos, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.